If you're an entrepreneur with ADHD, I'll bet this scene sounds painfully familiar to you. You're scrolling through your feed when a flashy ad catches your eye. The ultimate guide to crushing it on Instagram, yours for free, or maybe it's a webinar promising to reveal the secrets of 7-figure launches. Before you know it, you've handed over your email and you're sucked down the rabbit hole of yet more information you'll never use, but which takes up space in your brain. Does that sound about right? I'm Phil Drinkwater and I've been there too. It's so easy to get seduced by the promise of that magic bullet, the one strategy or tool that's finally going to crack the code for this business game. But here's the harsh truth: more often than not, those shiny objects just end up cluttering your brain and stealing your focus away from what really moves the needle. And I'll get onto what that is. I can't tell you how many coaching calls I've hopped onto where the first thing the client says is, I'm so overwhelmed. I've got all these half-finished projects and a hard drive bursting with freebies, but I'm not any closer to my goals. And my heart just aches because I know that cycle all too well. You sign up for this free workshop and before the video's even over and you've had a chance to act on it, you're already eyeing up that next thing. Challenge pops up in a Facebook group maybe, and suddenly you're pivoting your whole content strategy because some guru said that's the way to really blow up online. And when everything feels urgent and equally important, it's impossible to decide what actually deserves your precious energy. So you end up scattered and spinning your wheels constantly, never really making the kind of progress that you're hungry for. If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to take a deep breath, because here's the good news. You're not broken and you're not alone. Impulsivity and shiny object syndrome are classic ADHD struggles, and they can really kick into high gear when you're building a business, particularly if you're a bit new to it. I mean, think about it like this. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no one telling you what to focus on or holding you accountable to your goals. It's all on you to stay the course and filter out the noise. And when you're already wrestling with executive function challenges, it can really feel like the deck's stacked against you. But the answer isn't more of this, it's less of this. Because you've actually got a success card up your sleeve, even if it doesn't always feel like it. As an ADHDer, you've got a fire in your belly to create, to innovate, to shake things up. And when you learn to channel that energy in the right direction, that's when you become unstoppable. The key though, that's about getting ruthlessly intentional about where you're directing your time and attention. It's about defining what success looks like for you and reverse engineering the steps to get there without detours or distractions. I'll give you an example. A few months ago, I started working with a client. When we first got on Zoom, I could really feel their frazzled energy through the screen, and they told me they'd been in business for about a year, but just felt like they were drowning in a sea of half-baked ideas and unfinished courses. Every time they opened up Instagram, they'd see another launch that wasn't really relevant for them today, but they still went forward with it. Or maybe they'd see someone who was really doing an amazing job with their reels, and the comparison would start to send them into a tailspin, and they'd think, I need to be doing that too, and off they go down this rabbit hole of information again. But all that striving wasn't translating into client or cash flow or action. They were burnt out and starting to wonder if entrepreneurship was maybe not for them. If you found yourself questioning whether you make a good business owner because you can't seem to stick to one thing, I want you to listen, because here's what I told them. And it's what I'm going to tell you. The answer is to start to work at the end and work backwards from there. When you're not clear on the destination, it's all too easy to get sidetracked by the next shiny tactic or strategy. But when you've got a vision for what you should be working towards, saying no to the stuff that doesn't really serve you at the step you're at becomes a lot easier. So that's where we started. We dug deep and got really honest about what they wanted their business and life to look like. And getting granular about that And their unique version of success was game-changing. Suddenly there was a way to make decisions about where to spend money, time and energy, and that's most important in business. Instead of getting distracted by what everyone else was doing, they'd filter every opportunity through a lens of, is this really getting me closer to my goal, or is it just a detour? And this is how you start to build real and unstoppable momentum. But it doesn't happen overnight. If you're resonating with this story though, I've got a challenge for you. Hit pause, grab a notebook and pen, and let's dive in. First, I want you to imagine it's a year from today and you've had the most amazing year. You've got what you really wanted to in your business. Let yourself dream here a bit. What does your day-to-day look like? What kind of clients are you serving? How do you feel when you sit down and work each day? Where are you physically when you're doing that? You've got that vision locked in, that's amazing. Now let's reverse engineer from there. What's one gate you really need to open to make that dream a reality? Is it filling your signature program, landing a book deal, booking your services 3 months in advance? Whatever it is, write that down and now do the same again. Now break that down into bite-sized steps. What gates do you need to get through to get there? Is it committing to sharing content twice a week, or sending 10 pictures a month, or focusing all your energy on serving your amazing clients in the best way you can? I want you to get as specific as possible here, because the more clarity you have around your next steps, the easier it'll be to stay focused and filter out the noise. And while we're speaking about noise, let's take a look at all of the subscriptions that are cluttering up your inbox right now. All the half-finished courses gathering virtual dust. And ask yourself, are they really moving you closer to your goals, or are they taking your focus away? If they're not doing, it's time to say goodbye. Unsubscribe from the newsletters, cancel the memberships, delete the downloads. If you're not using them, just let them go. It might feel scary at first, like you're missing out on something, but the only thing you're really missing out on is the chance to keep spinning your wheels and getting nothing done. As you're decluttering, pay attention to any thoughts that bubble up. Is there a little voice in your head telling you should stick to that program even though you've barely opened it? Do you feel a pang of FOMO as you hover over the unsubscribe button? Those feelings are clues, so get curious about them. Ask yourself, am I operating from a place of fear or a place of power? Learning to tune into that inner knowing is a skill that takes time and practice, but the more you flex the muscle, the stronger it'll get. And before you know it, you'll be making choices from a place of total alignment, not knee-jerk reactivity, anxiety, and more fear. So here's your next coaching question. What's one tiny action you can take today to start clearing the clutter and honing in on what really matters? Is it batch unsubscribing from all those email lists, finally admitting that the course you bought on a whim isn't actually doing anything for you, and letting it go? Whatever it is, I want you to commit to it right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because massive change starts with micro shifts. And every small step you take towards really focusing in is bringing you that much closer to the business and life that you want. Action over information is the key here. So how do you make this stick? Well, when you're crystal clear about what you're building, it becomes so much easier to stay the course and be specific on what you need right now. This North Star that guides you means you're not so easily swayed. You know what gates you need to get through, and you're not afraid to put the blinders on and get to work. And if you need information to get to the next gate, that's fine. Go and look for it. Don't imagine that every piece of information you come across will be important, because in a year you might be running a completely different type of business. Stay in the present. That kind of clarity doesn't come from hustling harder or following someone else's blueprint. It comes from slowing down and really tuning into what lights you up and also what leaves you cold. And this is really important for ADHD people. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to 1 full week of radical honesty in your business. Every time you sit down to work on a project, ask yourself, is this getting me closer to my success, or is it just busy work? Am I doing this because I think I should, or because I've been told to, or is it truly moving the needle? If If you've got this little niggle of resistance when you ask yourself this, honor it. It likely isn't the right work for you. It might be in 12 months' time, but possibly it isn't today. Maybe this looks like hitting pause on a launch that's not lighting you up, even if everyone seems to say it's the right thing to do, or letting go of a client or project that's an energy drain for you, even if it means a temporary drip in your revenue. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to take an afternoon off to journal and daydream, even if your to-do list feels like it's a mile long, because at the end of that, it will probably be shorter. The point is, you've got to start trusting your inner wisdom here. Because here's the truth, no one else really knows better than you do about your business. Not me, not the expert, not the guy with 1,000 webinars. You're the only one who can really decide what belongs in your business right now and what's just noise. And when you start making those decisions from a place of alignment and intention, that's where the real business magic happens. That's when you stop chasing shiny objects and start getting the kind of opportunities, clients, and abundance that really light you up. So remember, action is more important than information. Get moving. Allow yourself to make some mistakes and learn from them. That's part of business. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. And if you do need some information, go and find it when you actually need it, not 10 months before. As an ADHD person, it's going to be pretty hard for you to organize everything you might learn anyway. Keep your focus on right now and what your business needs today. Take action on that. And while you're here, pop in the comments something you are going to let go of this week. Is it one thing? Is it multiple things? Now go and make it happen. And I'll catch you in the next video.